So, hello and welcome to the first episode of the Blue Jacket Banter. I have two very special guests with me today, and I'll let them introduce themselves.
My name is John Stalvey. I'm currently serving as state president, and I'm from the Berry and High FFA chapter.
I'm Jaxsen Guthrie. I'm currently serving as the South Region State Vice President, and I'm from the Coffee High FFA chapter.
All right. So, I'm glad to have y'all here today. I know it was a little bit of a drive. Some got here later than others, but...
I did.
All right. So, before we get to the banner, we're going to break the ice a little bit. So, there's a spinny wheel right there. If you want to spin it, a spinny wheel. There's a spinny wheel right there. And whatever number it lands on, I'm going to ask a question pertaining to that number. So, y'all can choose who goes first.
Ladies first.
It's closer to you. It's closer to you.
Okay, let's see.
Oh,
Well, that's a terrible spin. That's
sorry,
embarrassing. Was that a 4?
A 4?
What's the
All right.
question?
A 4? You said 4?
4.
All right. What's your favorite song?
My favorite song. This is tough. Probably any George Strait song.
Any
I like
George Strait song? All right.
Jackson, here you go. See if you can
We'll
spin
get
better
good
than
spin
I can.
there.
What in the world?
All right.
7.
All right. This is a good question. If you had the option, would you rather go into the future or go into the past, and why?
What was the end?
All right. If you had the option, would you rather go into the future or would you go into the past, and why?
I'd go into the past. For starters, if I went and saw the future, I don't know if I'd be able to handle that going back. But I'm a big fan of history, so definitely going back into the past.
Yeah, I like history too a little bit. All right. So, can y'all tell me a little bit about yourselves?
Of course, as I said, a little bit about me is I'm really big into the livestock industry. I love showing cows, and that's really what grew my passion for agriculture and my passion for the FFA. So whenever I'd gotten to middle school, we'd already shown some cattle, but when I got into the 6th grade is when I began showing with FFA. And that's what got me involved with the CDEs, with the advisors, and going to the contest. And that's kind of where the passion started, and from there it's just grown. Since I got into those CDEs and the conferences and all the events, I kind of got to see all the awesome people and all the awesome opportunities within the FFA association. And that's why I love the FFA so much, and ultimately why I decided to run for state office. And that's just a little bit of background on kind of my journey and how it started.
So for me, anyone that knows me will tell you I'm a very competitive person. I love competitions. And in middle school, just looking for a place to, harbor that passion. And unfortunately, I wasn't in FFA in middle school. I was a part of some other organizations, but I knew going into my 9th grade year that there was somewhere else I needed to be. And I had a friend in FFA, and so I joined it and knew immediately that was the place I needed to be. Started diving headfirst into the LDEs, the CDEs, the different competitions. Fell in love with public speaking and also just meeting new people. And so when I saw what state officers did, which is a lot of public speaking and meeting new people, I knew that was what I wanted to do.
Yeah, those are good answers. I feel like I kind of want to follow in y'all's footsteps after that. So a lot of people really look up to y'all. So, all right.
We appreciate it. It's definitely a great program, and we encourage anybody to do it and participate.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I feel like I always say FFA has a spot for everybody. You don't just have to be agriculture kid. You can go in anything from speeches to leadership activities. So there's a spot for everybody.
Exactly.
So on to the second question. When did your FFA journey start?
So for me personally, kind of like I was talking about, it started in the 6th grade for me. I had a wonderful advisor, and unfortunately she moved on after my 6th grade year, and we had another advisor come in that was equally as wonderful. So I've been blessed over the years to have wonderful ag teachers and instructors who have pushed me outside of my comfort zone and really helped me to grow. And I think that's what really made a difference for my FFA career. So it started in the 6th grade, and my first competition was actually the Creed speaking contest. And believe it or not, because I talk a lot now, I was really quiet and really shy, and I would have rather sat in the corner and not said anything. But my advisor pushed me to go and do the Creed speaking contest, and that's kind of what got me out of my shell and part of what made me who I am today.
All right.
As I said earlier, my journey began in 9th grade. I wish I'd have got in sooner, but I would say one thing that really propelled my FFA journey was running for area office. I wasn't exactly sure what it was. I just knew it was an opportunity that came up. And I had participated in a few things. I had done vet science, and really I was just telling them anything that has an opening I want to do. I wanted to get involved with this organization, and went to state convention, ran for area office, got it, and through being able to serve there, really got to know more about the organization and fall in love with it. And something I'd like to point out is I got into FFA because I had friends in FFA, and that's a big way we get a lot of our members, and it's a big way that you can get a lot of people to join your chapter. It's just reaching out to your friends.
Yeah, I feel like connections kind of correlate with that. I feel like that's one thing that I've learned from it, making connections, because that's always important, like knowing you guys and meeting with Tyler Harper and other important people in FFA and agriculture. So the third question is, what is your SAE?
So my SAE is actually an entrepreneurship SAE, and this actually has to do with beef production. So my siblings and I, we own Creek Cattle Company together, where we raise seed stock and some show animals for junior exhibitors kind of across the nation. And we try to sell a few calves every year, and then we also continue to produce our own, whether that's going to the stockyard or whether those are going to be seed stock. So kind of an SAE there that developed out of showing cattle. We started with just a handful, 3 or 4 females between the 4 of us siblings. And from there it's just grown, and we've gotten into the embryo transfer and artificial insemination world. And that's kind of a side of it that I probably wasn't as familiar with when we got started, that scientific side, but it's something I've really enjoyed. And Jose, like you pointed out earlier, there's kind of, FA's got a little bit of everything for everyone. So I really enjoyed the beef side of it, but there are people that make a living every day doing that scientific side in that lab, doing the research, and those people are crucial to agriculture.
Yeah.
Mine's also in the entrepreneurship section. I have diversified livestock, as both of y'all know. Diversified is definitely the word for it. Anything from primarily goats, but emus, llamas, alpacas, donkeys, horses, ponies, a camel, or ostrich, just all kinds of different fun things to have around. And I really just, the agriculture in my life wasn't necessarily row crops, but just enjoying livestock and really falling in love with that side of it. And my life really began to change towards an agricultural side when I joined FFA. So it kind of just correlated for the perfect time of diving into livestock and also joining FFA.
Yeah, I feel that's how I started my SAE. I started off with a hog, and then hog turned into a sheep, and then right now they're wanting me to show cattle. So
You need to jump in.
yeah,
Jose. We'll invite you everybody. What about anybody over
they've
there
been trying to
show?
convince me. I'm convinced. It's just
Okay.
it's my parents to get convinced.
We,
and-
we could go there. Hey, after this, we'll go convince you.
Yeah, all right. We'll go looking for some cattle. So when you go to your backyard, Jackson, do you just like think of a zoo, or when you look in your backyard?
It's crazy when, obviously accidents happen and pins cut loose, and, you might see a chicken wandering around, or you might see an alpaca in the pond. All kinds of crazy stuff. I would correlate it to a petting zoo if a petting zoo wasn't as organized. But it was definitely an adventure. The scarier the animal, the more I love it. So I put it. I love the scary things.
So like a snake or spider type.
Oh,
of
no,
person.
hold on.
Yeah,
No, that like the emus and
Oh.
like imagine a giant chicken walking around at you, but it can jump higher and run faster than you. That's how I like it.
Could we potentially see some of these petting zoo animals at state convention?
I would love to ride an ostrich around state convention, but I don't think they would allow me to.
Okay, Jose, you heard it here first.
We heard it
could
here.
see
We get it
that.
approved.
We
I
could
will
see
gladly
it.
ride
We
around
could see it.
on an ostrich.
We could potentially see Jaxsen Guthrie on the ostrich
Well,
at state
that'll
convention.
be something.
You get tired of walking. Alrighty. So the next question would be, what's your favorite FFA event and why? So it could be anything from a CDE, an event, convention, any event.
I'll take a little bit of almost a cheating answer here. I'd say the livestock shows.
Yeah.
Like I talked about, love cattle, have a passion for it. Outside of that, as far as a CDE, I love the livestock judging competition, obviously, because you get to look at livestock, and not only do you get to evaluate them, and you get to meet really cool people that are involved in the industry, but you also get to give those reasons. I know for a lot of folks, they're hesitant about the reasons, because that's the time you have to give up and almost give a speech. But I think it's so enjoyable because you get to explain why you saw them that way. You get to explain your point of view, and it's not necessarily wrong. You just get to go out there and talk. So I enjoy that, and obviously going to state convention, national convention, one of the best opportunities in FFA. I encourage everyone to do that. You meet so many neat people, whether it's other members, ag teachers, or vendors that are there, and there are endless possibilities at those kind of conventions.
Miss Swing will be proud of mine. The Super Bowl of LDEs and competitions. I just love Parley Pro. It was always my favorite. It's the levels to it, and my passion for FFA is in the competitions. So obviously it's going to be a competition, and parliamentary procedure. From the moment I did conduct as a junior member and then transferring over to Parley Pro, I loved it. I loved every second. I even loved the practices, which for a competition, it's hard to love a practice sometimes, but I even enjoyed the practices.
Yeah,
Some of us weren't smart enough
Oh
to do
yeah,
that.
we're not that chapter to do Parley Pro. I got a funny story.
I
One
didn't say
time-
we did good in Parley Pro. I just said we did Parley
Hey,
Pro.
I don't know if I should, but anyways, we had a team one year and no knowledge of Parley Pro. So our ag teacher had to check off a check mark by LDE, and Parley Pro was the only thing left that season. So their thing was the ice cream party or something. I don't know. So our president motioned for an ice cream party, and then he denied his own motion or something like that. I don't really know how Parley Pro works, but the judges laughed at them. They got
At least they got a kick out
they
of
got
it.
they got a kick out of it, a kick to last place, but
Sad the ice cream party didn't happen, but
the ice cream party happened after the competition. They hit up Dairy Queen. They got their ice cream.
Okay, good,
But,
good.
Yep. Yeah, we're not. You're one of the smart people that do Parley Pro. You're a lucky person. What would be y'all's hot take in FFA?
Oh, I've got mine, Jose.
No.
My hot take is that South region is the best region in Georgia.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Absolutely the best. No, I'm kidding, but I love my South region folks. They're wonderful.
my hot take, and this is a hot one for sure, I don't think boots looks right with official dress. I don't think you need to be wearing boots with official dress. Those dress pants were made for dress shoes. Put some dress shoes on, man.
So Jackson, not even black boots.
No, put some dress shoes on. It's dress pants. They're not made for
Okay.
boots.
Hey,
They're not made
my
for boots.
my dress shoes are from Walmart, so I think anybody can go to Walmart and get some dress
Exactly.
shoes.
Mine have been too. Don't worry, Jose.
Yeah. All right. So moving on from that question, this is a little lengthy question. It could be a lengthy answer. All right. So, what is an issue that you see in agriculture, and do you think? And let me restart that. What is an issue that you see in agriculture, and do you think there could be any solutions to that issue?
Jose, that's a tough question. That's a tough question. I think as wonderful as the agricultural industry is and the people in agriculture, there are a lot of issues we need to work on, whether you want to talk about shortage of natural resources, whether that's land or water, any of that, whether you want to talk about foreign governments and foreign individuals coming in and purchasing domestic land and mess up biosecurity. I think those are major issues. I'll say I think our biggest issue, even more so than those, is the fact that we have fewer and fewer individuals going into the agricultural industry. Obviously, now we all know the average age of a farmer is rising. It's getting up to 58, almost 60 years old. And Jose, that's simply too old for my comfort.
Yeah.
I want to know where my food's coming from in 20 years. And we need more individuals getting into the ag industry, folks. It's a wonderful industry to be a part of. In my opinion, the most important industry in the world. So I urge everybody to consider the ag industry. Like you said, there are so many opportunities and countless jobs and countless kind of ways to go. No matter what you want to do, there's a place for you in agriculture.
Yep, it's like the 2% feeding the 100%.
Exactly. It's a crazy stat, but I mean, without those 2%, we wouldn't be here.
Wouldn't be here. Wouldn't have
For certain.
nothing.
Exactly like John Evans said. That's what I was about to say. Just we need more individuals, and they're getting older. We're going to need people to replace those. But another important issue, I think, is the lack of farm land. We need more food than ever, and we're growing it on less land than ever. I mean, that's simple math to see that, there's an issue there. And the fact that we're having to grow more with less people and and less land is troubling. But I have faith in the agriculture industry. We've done it for the entire history of the universe, and it's been the backbone of the earth for forever. We've fed it for years, and I have faith that we're going to come through. But it's because of when you think about people like FFA, where we're doing our part to make sure that the future of agriculture is bright, and encouraging people to go into those jobs, as well as organizations like Farm Bureau or anything like that, where they're really pushing to make sure that the agricultural industry, which is the industry that feeds our entire nation, and not only food. It's not only food. You think about timber and engineering, anything like that is vital to our life as a nation. It's not going to pass us. We have to do something, but I think we'll get it done.
Yeah,
I agree, Jackson, that we'll get it done. For me, maybe a little bit different. I think, like you said, because of the passionate individuals, but I think maybe the biggest thing that we need to make sure we do in order to solve both of those problems and a lot of the problems we have is, as consumers, as educated consumers, we need to educate others in our community.
Well, advocacy, advocate.
Exactly. We need to advocate for the agricultural industry. We need to put the word out there that farmers, ranchers, agriculturists, they're good stewards of the natural resources that they're given. And I think when people begin to realize this and begin to realize that the farmers and ranchers truly do care about the consumers they're feeding, that's when we'll start to see a shift and make it a real change.
Yeah, I feel like advocacy is a big thing. I feel like that's a huge solution to that issue. I feel like we start advocating for younger. I feel we're first state to ever have elementary ag teachers. I feel like the younger you start teaching them, the more they'll know. So here in our chapter, we host 5th grade ag days, kindergarten ag days.
Awesome.
And we have some kids. We ask, where does milk come from? The store. It comes from the store. And they're like, but do you know what animal? They're like, no, I don't know which animal. And then they think chocolate milk comes from a brown cow. They think strawberry milk comes from a pink cow.
And the thing is that what's so sad is we have adults that think
the same
way.
thing. That's
way. Crazy to me, kind of growing up in the agricultural industry and going through those ag classes, that we have people that are that uneducated about their food source. And I think, like you said, we need to advocate and we need to educate.
Yeah, we have teachers go up to the ag teachers asking questions. I wouldn't say they're dumb questions, but they're little common sense questions. But, yep, well, I think that could be a solution to that issue. But, all righty, moving on. All right. So what are y'all's plans after high school or after completing this year as a state officer?
So, for me personally, since I was a little kid, I've always wanted to attend the University of Georgia. I love the Bulldogs, whether it's football. Exactly. Whether it's football or their ag program, any of it. So, hopefully, go up to Athens to the University of Georgia where I can major in either animal science or ag business, and from there, kind of see where the world takes me. There are several, like we've talked about, so many opportunities nowadays, and you can think something today and 3-4 years down the road, it can be completely different. But Jose, my plan is to always be involved in the agricultural industry simply because I have a passion for it and I want to see us succeed.
Likewise, I want to go to the University of Georgia and hopefully go to law school. I'm not set on anything, but the plan right now is to go to law school, but still always have something to do with agriculture. I always want to have my emus and whatever other animals at the time I feel like I want to have. Definitely emus for sure, but always going to have my emus, but going that route, whether it's advocating for agriculture some way through that law degree or, but I'm not set on anything, and for sure, go Dogs.
Yeah, go Dogs, go Dogs. Yep, I've always looked at going to UGA, but
hey, we expect to see you there.
Yeah, I'm kind of set towards Tifton right now, towards ABAC.
ABAC's a good school. I don't throw any shade at ABAC. That's a wonderful school.
ABAC's good.
Hey, as long as it's not the University of Florida.
No, it ain't gonna be that.
Right, I want to make sure.
Just because you're a Ware County Gator don't mean you can be a Florida.
No, I'm not gonna be that type of Gator.
Okay.
That's too south. It's a little too far south.
Too much of the swamp.
Yeah,
right?
too much of the swamp. All right. So I know y'all both started y'all's state office here in April, but how could y'all say that being a state officer so far has changed your life or has given you a new perspective?
It's definitely giving me less free time. I'll say that, James. I'll say that. No, we stay busy, and it's awesome, though. I think, even like you mentioned, it's only been a few short months, but kind of get to see our team grow so closely. Jaxsen and I, we've worked together now, what was this, our third year? Third or fourth year, exactly. And we knew each other, and we already knew everyone on the team, but to really build that connection and build that bond has been awesome. And then also, we got to attend State Officer Summit. That was a awfully cool event where we got to meet people around the nation, and they did agriculture different. Their FFA was different, and kind of see that. I think probably the most unique experience for me, Jaxsen, was our business and industry tour, where we got to see actual agriculture across the state. That was so neat, and that changed my perspective because outside of maybe the beef operations and some of the row crops, I had no clue about some of the things that were going on and how big those industries were. So a lot of neat opportunities and kind of change our perspective.
As far as how it's changed my life, I've never been a morning person at all. I want to sleep in late as I can, which I stay up pretty late. But being a state officer, you're going to turn into a morning person, whether you want to or not.
Yeah.
So that's definitely one way it's changed my life. But then, as far as perspective, like John Havens said, that business and industry tour or meeting with other states at state officer summit, you just see the scope of agriculture and how big it is. And whether it's we got to visit a chicken processing place, or whether it's just visiting a Vidalia onion farm where you see the local side of it. And one of the biggest things that stood out to me over the course of this was agriculture is a family. And anyone involved in it, you just feel connected with one another, and agriculture is the biggest family in the world.
Yeah.
Definitely is. And Jaxsen, in most other industries, it's almost a competition. You're almost rivals. But I think, like you mentioned, in agriculture, we have so many people to feed. No one's trying to beat anyone out. We're trying to help each other as agriculturists, whether that's for me in the cattle industry or the row crop industry or the poultry industry, wherever you are, you're trying to help your neighbor. And I think, like I said, that contributes to that family. And then the other thing that's really changed my perspective has been our opportunities to host events such as our colts, our two colts. We've enjoyed that tremendously. I've loved seeing the students and the passion that they have. And that's been awesome. That's been almost re-inspiring for me personally, because it's awesome to see those kids that come in with a passion and they are so energetic and so happy to be there. I love it.
Yeah, I feel like FFA could change your life in any way, but it's always going to be for the better. You could come out as a shy person going to FFA, and you'll come out the best speaker in that county. I feel like that's kind of how my route went. I was always stuck in the corner, didn't want to talk a lot. And then my middle school ag teacher put me into creed speaking, and then creed speaking turned into discussion meet. That turned into prepared. So yeah,
They'll trap you. You got to be
yeah,
careful now. Advisors are tricky now.
Yeah, they'll trick you. They're smart with their decisions. They're smart.
They're smart.
They'll trick you smart.
But you'll grow from that.
Yeah.
And Jose, that's a story we hear a lot from students. That FFA brought me out of my comfort zone. I used to could not speak in front of everyone, or couldn't, go up and introduce myself. But through FFA, I've learned to speak, communicate, and network better, which are 3 skills everyone can use, no matter what industry you're going into, no matter what you plan on doing with your life. Those are things that are invaluable, and we hear it all the time from students. I'm so thankful for FFA because it brought me out of my comfort zone.
Yep. I feel like that's always a good thing. It's always changing you for the better. All right, so moving on to the next question. If you have a favorite quote, what is it?
Jaxsen, you're the big reader here.
Man, there's a lot. Let me pick out one.
Okay. Well, mine, and for a few years people would ask me that question. I wouldn't have a clue of what to say, because honestly I didn't know that many quotes, and maybe I'd quote a Bible verse or something. But I think probably my favorite anymore, it's pretty obvious. Mark Twain, I love Mark Twain, and he one time said, "It's never wrong to do the right thing." And I think that's something in today's modern world that we have to remember. Even when we're getting peer pressured, even when it's not the cool thing to do the right thing, it's never the wrong thing. We need to make sure that we always think about how our actions are going to bring on consequences upon ourselves and how they're going to affect others. And we need to do that for the betterment of others. So just do the right thing, and do what you would want others to do unto you.
One quote I love that is very indicative of my life probably a lot is It's a John Wayne quote.
Oh.
It's life is tough, but it's tougher when you're stupid. And you do stupid things, it's gonna make life tough. But to cheat a little bit on a better answer, one of the best quotes of all time from the Bible is, "Whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved."
That's the best quote right there. That's the best quote.
Yeah, I'll probably have to say mine. It's one President Eisenhower. He was saying a speech in Illinois, and it says, "Farming may look easy when your plow is a pencil and you're thousands of miles away from the cornfield." I used that in the speech once, and it qualified me for the finalists. But hey, I mean, I like that quote. It kind of shows that many people see like the front side of it and don't see a lot of work getting put in. But if you really go into the field instead of it being that pencil and it being that plow, you're going to see how much hard work's put in behind.
And Jose, I think, like you said, that's an awesome quote because you kind of see all that hard work. What's gotten crazy to me personally is even now when we're sitting there with a pen and paper, trying to work out the financial side of it as a farmer rancher is getting tougher. So now, whether it's pen or paper or a plow, everything's getting tougher in agriculture. The only thing so-called easy is go into the store, I guess, and pick it out. But with the prices, that's not easy.
It is not
either.
easy.
So agriculture as a whole is tough. I think people need to understand that and appreciate that.
And our first few presidents, especially George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, they really valued the occupation of being a farmer. And they have some great quotes about the importance of farmers and also the integrity and the greatness of our farmers. And they could tell through their God-given wisdom, really, when forming this country, how important farming was to our nation. And so I encourage anyone to look at some of those quotes, and it'll inspire you to see, I mean, just how important farming is, not only for each consumer, but for a nation.
Yeah. I feel like that's the big thing. Many people don't remember a quote off the top of their head, but that's one that's always stuck with me. But I feel that's one of my favorite quotes. On to the next question. What are some of the biggest challenges that both of you have faced so far as being state officers, and what have you learned from them?
Biggest challenges? Well, I got cheat. Jackson's answer. Definitely the early mornings. Those have been, I'll be honest, Jackson and I both, we probably pushed the boundaries of being on time a little bit. I've gotten worse about it. As I pointed out, I was already late today, guys. Already late today. But I think that's something that's kind of been a challenge for me, just punctuality and making sure we're on time. And that's something we got to work on. And then keeping a calendar. I think in state office is extremely important. That taught me the value of that across the board, whether you're a state officer or a student or whatever you're doing. Make sure you have a calendar. It makes it so much easier, and it allows you to be prepared. And I think when we're prepared, we can perform better. I think that's pretty obvious.
Yeah, one of the things is when we're somewhere for that day, we have something we're doing that entire day. Our days are full from the 6:30 or when we're waking up till we get to bed. A lot of times after midnight, we're doing something. But it's always something worth doing. And then another thing, kind of like John Haven said, just organization. It's a lot, and sometimes my mom will call me, "When are you coming home?" I don't know. Honestly, I'll find out. I'll know for sure I'm going home when I'm home. But yeah, organization's a big thing, especially when you've got a lot that you're doing. But I'll say this, everything we've done, and I'm sure John Haven would agree, it's a lot, but it's a lot worth doing. And it's an amazing experience.
Yeah, I feel like what John Haven said, keeping a calendar or planner go a long way of being organized. I feel like without that, you really can't know what you're doing, don't know what you're going to do that day.
They always give me a hard time because they'll tell us a date, and I won't have my calendar out, and I have to text my mom and send it to her. She's the one that keeps my calendar, so shout out there. Without her, I wouldn't know what I was doing this afternoon, to be honest with you.
A little late this afternoon, too. It seemed like you didn't know what you were doing.
I know, man. I was about late.
So, what has been the most rewarding part of being a state officer so far?
Jackson, I'm going to let you take the lead on that. I've got to think.
First thing that comes to mind for me is absolutely the members, and getting to interact and meet more members is the biggest thing that interested me when I started running for state office. And each one just has a unique story. You get to see a unique side of agriculture through each of the students. You get to see the passion that's there for that's there when you meet new students, and also just I'm an FFA member, they're an FFA member, a lot of us are the same age. I mean, the friendships and just having a good time, whether it's eating lunch with a chapter or just speaking to one at an event and having a conversation, getting to interact with the members is by far my favorite part so far.
And Jason, I had to stop thinking because there's so many rewarding parts of being a state officer, but I'd agree. The members are awesome. I love interacting with the students, and I think you kind of get to see their passion not only for the FFA, but more importantly for agriculture. And, you know, that first line of the creed there, I believe in the future of agriculture with a faith born not of words, but of deeds. I think really it hits you hard when you're a state officer and you get to see it. You're not believing because people tell you there's passion. You can see the passion, whether that's at conferences, whether that's at conventions, or whether, like you said, that's simply eating with a chapter. You get to hear students tell you about their SAE projects, about their experience at agriculture, and it's rewarding and inspiring. I've enjoyed that so much.
Yeah, I feel that you can learn a lot from just talking to others, even kids younger than you or
of course.
members younger than you. My bad.
And
You
I
learn
think-
a lot from them.
Exactly. And I think the thing to remember is that's not something that just Jaxsen and I get the opportunity to do as state officer. That's something that every FFA member can do, whether it's at a convention or a CD. If you see someone else and maybe you're both done with livestock judging, but you're waiting on the rest of your team, go up and talk to them. You never know
Absolutely.
where that connection goes, what you learn from that person, whether it's just a 10-minute conversation, you know, you kill some time and learn some neat things, or that's a lifelong friendship there. All of those things, the way that they work out is so unique and so special, just making connections.
Yep, I feel like that's a big thing. The way I made a good connection, I was at a livestock show, and my lamb ran away in the ring because the judge went to give me my reasons, or he went to tell me what to work on, and he did his hands like this, and he scared my lamb. I had her in one hand, and she went zooming off. And then I just put my hand out, and I snapped, and she came right back. And there's a guy in the stands, and he was looking, and he was talking to one of my friend's moms that shows too. And then he said, "Would you look at that? That lamb went right back to that kid." And turns out he ended up selling me a very good lamb for cheap. And I feel like that's one of those things, making connections that you can really lead you anywhere. Like y'all said, lifelong friendships maybe could get you a cheap lamb, but they're good.
Exactly, they are.
Yeah. All right. So moving on to the next question, what is one thing that you're looking forward to this year?
So I think to go for the rewarding, what's been rewarding, just continuing to meet and engage with students is going to be awesome. Every year, even before I was a state officer, I look forward to national and state convention. I won't lie to you; those are two of the best experiences. Getting to spend a week out of school, number one, I love that. I'm not a big school guy, but getting to go in at national convention, obviously the trade show's awesome there. And getting to see all the different aspects of agriculture and ag education, and then getting to meet with members from other states. And then at state convention, the same kind of deal, just on a little bit smaller scale and a little more specialized to Georgia there. It's incredible. I've always enjoyed that, and I think that's one that every FFA member needs to attend.
Absolutely.
I mean, folks, we get a week out of school, and you get to meet some pretty cool people. So
Yeah.
For me, just the opportunities in FFA are unparalleled. I mean, you can't beat them, and especially, I mean, if you're not involved in an organization yet, join the FFA, because the opportunities we get to participate in are way better than sitting at home doing nothing. Whether it's meeting with the CEO of Synovus or getting to tour those places on the BNI tour, at state and national convention, finding an area of agriculture you're passionate about, or meeting other members. And obviously, those giant sessions, whether it's at state convention or national convention, where everyone's in the same room talking about the same things, they're powerful. And they're very engaging, and they're just awesome. So I'm just looking forward to all the opportunities there. I couldn't pick just one because there's so many. They're all so different, but so awesome.
Yeah, I feel like I'm looking forward to national convention this year. Like y'all said, it's a week out of school, a full week, and we also have somebody from our chapter competing. So excited to see her compete. Maddox Link.
No, if you want to kind of feel the hair on the back of your neck stand
Yeah.
up in those opening sessions of state and
Yeah.
national convention. You'll get that
Yeah.
feeling.
Yeah. I feel like the most exciting part, officer elections. I feel like
Oh,
that
man.
that really gets the hair
I
on
have
your
a
neck
different
standing
view on
up.
officer
Yeah.
elections anymore. That may be the most stressful
Oh,
part.
my word.
It may be the most stressful, but no,
Yeah.
it is neat, and it's
Yeah.
awesome to see.
All right, we're nearing the end. 2 more questions left.
Two more, 2 more.
2 more.
Good answers, Jackson.
All right. All right. So moving on to the next question. What is some leadership advice that you would give to those who are interested in pursuing a leadership role?
I can go.
Yeah, you go ahead.
My biggest piece of advice is just do it. That's the biggest thing you see with people is the hesitancy to get involved. Whether it's because they think they're not qualified or they don't have the time or whatever the reason is, just get involved. And I can tell you one thing, experience will go a long way, and you'll grow as a person in those leadership roles especially. And really, there's nothing like getting to participate in a leadership role. It grows you as a person. It enhances all of the skills you're going to use no matter what industry or occupation you go into. And just do it. You can have those fears and you can have those hesitancies, but once you do it, you'll always be glad that it's something you participated in because they're very rewarding and very beneficial.
Yeah. Jason, it's funny you said that when Jose asked the question. The first thing that popped into my mind was just do it. And I thought that's a Nike quote. I can't steal Nike there. But I think the second part of that is once we just do it, I think overall in this country is a lack of leadership as a whole, and we're hungry for good leaders, whether that's in agriculture, any industry, into politics, anywhere. I think the most important thing is once we just do it, stay grounded, stay humble, realize you're no bigger than anyone else. You're serving people. I think that's something that a lot of times we miss when we get into those leadership roles. We begin to think that we're almost above or better than, and we're not. We're here to serve those people, and everyone's working together as a team. So stay humble, stay grounded, and remember where your roots are. And I think a wonderful place to set your roots is in the faith and the Christian faith. And I think remember that. And when we rely on the Lord for what we need in those leadership roles, as challenging or difficult as they can be, He's going to give us exactly what we need to complete the job. So never lose sight of that. Never lose the Lord, no matter how well you may think you're doing or how high up you may feel like you are.
Something I love about leadership in FFA, number one, leadership is service. And the people you're serving in FFA are members your age, or sometimes older than you, or sometimes younger than you, but right around that same age. So you get to, be in service to your friends, to fellow members, people on your teams, to where, you're not better than them. You have a responsibility to make their experience better. And it's not like, you're a leadership over someone way younger than you or older than you. It's people your age and it's your peers.
Yeah, those are good answers. I feel like anybody that would be listening or watching to that, they'll definitely take that into account. So this next question is kind of relating to that. So this is the last question. And
Don't mess it up. God bless.
I mean, you're on a high note.
Okay.
Fix everything that's happening.
Got to end on a good note. All right. So what is one thing that you would tell a person who's interested in joining FFA?
How long do we have to talk to him, Jose? Because we could go on for hours about how wonderful the association is. I think, Jackson, I almost did quit. Just do it, number one.
Yeah.
But if I'm kind of going to give a sales pitch on the FFA here, it's probably the best. It is the best student-led organization in the country. It's the largest, and there's a reason for that, a good reason, and that's because there's a purpose behind the FFA. When you look at our mission statement, our creed, what we believe in, there's a purpose. We're trying to feed the next generation, and we're trying to create leaders through agriculture. And I think that those things are something that we believe in. And because we believe in it so strongly, it creates such an incredible program and such an incredible opportunities for our members. I was actually on the phone with a guy the other day talking about calves, and we kind of got to talking about the FFA, and he told me, he said, John Haven, you don't realize just being in the FFA, you've set your kind of career path or life path. He said, you have no idea how many opportunities will be opened up because you're in that organization. He said, when I go to hire folks, whether that's to, work on my feed rations or work on my farm, work on my ranch, wherever, he said, those FFA students, they are just so incredible. And whether it's because they're hardworking, they're intelligent, they care, they have that passion, there's just something different about them. So there's something different about the FFA. It's incredible to be a part of.
Well, my first piece of advice would be, which has been said before, there's a place for you. Agriculture scope is so big, and just because you don't want to go into production agriculture, just because you don't want to raise animals or plant crops, does not mean FFA is not this place for you. And another piece of advice I would give is go all in. That's our state theme is all in. Try as much as you can to see what you like to do. My first year, I tried vet science, horse judging, all kinds of different things, and found my lane that interested me. And my sales pitch for FFA is no matter what you do, you're going to come out a way more skilled and benefited person. Because you're going to get to come out of your comfort zone. You're going to be a better speaker, communicator, networker, and like John Evans said, the doors that open up for you it's insane. But because agriculture is a family, we know that if you've been in FFA or a part of agriculture, what kind of person you are, that you're a hard worker, that you are someone with passion and care, and FFA has a place for everybody, and it will benefit every single member that's a part of it.
Yep, those are amazing answers. I always say, FFA, you're always going to change through FFA, but it's always going to be for the better. You ain't going to change.
Excellent.
Yeah, you're
That
not.
might be my new favorite quote right there.
Yeah.
I know what I'm going to tell people next time.
Yeah, let's redo that
I
scene.
love
I'm going to
that.
say Jose Gomez.
I like that quote.
Yeah, I feel like if you go through FFA, you're always going to change, but it's always going to be for the better. You're not going to go through FFA and become a worse person than what you came in. You're always going to become better. Like
Exactly.
Jackson said, improve skills, whether that be just overall knowledge in ag, or it could be speaking in front of a crowd, or anything along those lines, or anything in between.
Lifelong friendships.
And life connections, again.
Exactly.
That's the best thing that you would get from joining FFA. So, again, I want to thank y'all for being on the first episode of the Blue Jacket Banter, and I appreciate y'all coming out today, and it has been fun. So,
Definitely has Jose.
Yeah.
We appreciate you letting
Yeah,
us come out
absolutely.
to the first
Thank you for the
edition.
invite.
I feel very special.
And we set the bar really low for the rest of your participants. So, it's just up from here. honestly.
it is.
Exactly. And folks, I think one thing, a great example of someone who has gotten into the FFA organization and really grown is Jose Gomez. I remember meeting Jose a few years back, and Jose, like you said, a little bit, you were like me, a little bit quiet, a little bit shy. But then when I really got to meet you, Jose's an awesome guy. And he really started to break out of his shell and got in there into the area office. And through that year of serving with Jose, that was an awesome opportunity, man. And now I'm glad to say that you're one of my friends.
Absolutely.
And I've enjoyed meeting you, Jose, and I'm proud of what you're doing here. And we wish you the best.
Yeah, I wish y'all the best too.
We
And,
appreciate it.
yeah, I really thank you. I feel like I kind of wouldn't be here if it weren't for y'all too. I feel like
Now he's giving us too much credit.
Yeah.
So that's
I feel like FFA definitely changed me for the better. Went in, the shy kid came out way better than I was. And I feel like y'all had a big role in it. So did area office, meeting all those new people, those connections. It definitely changed me for the better.
This felt like a mini reunion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A mini reunion.
Oh, man.
Yeah, South region, back again.
Hey, remember that?
Top of the game.
I'm telling you, best region, best region.
Best region.
Oh.
Well, we want to thank y'all for listening to the first episode of the Blue Jacket Banter, and there will be more to come. So please make sure to follow us on all of our social media, and thank you for watching.